Are you an entrepreneur or ready to become a boss? Welcome to Hawaii Boss, the business podcast made in Hawaii, where you will hear from island movers and shakers on who they are and their impact on our state. And now, step into the office of your host for Hawaii Boss, David Pettijohn.
Aloha, Hawaii Boss podcast listeners. This is a special Mother's Day edition, and I'm going directly to the boss's office, the office of Amanda Pettijohn, my good wife and the mother of our beautiful 6 children. So, Amanda, welcome to Hawaii Boss podcast, and aloha.
Thank you. Aloha. It's nice to be here.
Well, I know that being a mother on Mother's Day, having 6 children, I guess today's a special day. What do you like the most about Mother's Day?
I like the moments that my children share their love for me and admiration. It makes me feel special and loved.
Well, it's a special day because they can't say anything bad about their moms on Mother's Day. So, but they do definitely, it's a special time, I think, for all of us when we talk about our mothers. It really makes an impact because I think they affect all of our lives in different ways. The mothers and the aunties and the grandmas and all the women in our lives. And so we're grateful for Mother's Day. But we're also interested as a working mom to hear from you and about, you didn't start working until after our youngest, Liza, was in school. And you started where she started school at in Kona, Kahakai Elementary School. You became sort of trying to figure out what you were going to do as you were beginning work over here in Hawaii, and that was where she was going to school. And tell us a little bit about, what job you found there, and then that sort of led to what you've been doing the last 7 years.
Well, I was looking for something that would give me kind of the same hours of when the kids would be in school. And,
Not always easy to find.
No. And so obviously it would be in the school system. I approached the school and just asked if I could be a sub EA educator assistant. And I was doing that for a while, and then it became into a regular situation. And I enjoyed that. And one of the surprises that I saw in doing that work was working with special needs children.
That was your first class that you were assigned to?
Working with special needs children, different types of disabilities. And it was truly a blessing and a huge learning experience for me. And the teacher that I worked with was a great mentor, an example, and I appreciated her and my fellow EAs that I worked with. I learned a lot from.
So you learned about the Hawaii school system and different things. It was nice that you could be there with Liza and be able to pick her up and be with her and spend those same time so you could still do those other responsibilities. Because it seems like women, and I don't think you're any different as you're working, you come home, it's sort of the second shift, they call it, and you keep on mothering. Now tell us, again, it's hard for, I think, the women who work and raise families out there. It can be a challenge. What are some of the, the most challenging things as you try to balance those things?
It definitely has been a challenge, and it was something, I kind of always wanted to be at home. And when doing this work, it took a shift in myself.
Because you've been able to stay home as a homemaker and as a full-time mom, which is work, serious work in itself, especially with 6 children, and you were able to stay home for that time. And so, yeah, like you said, it's sort of a shift. And what were some of the trade-offs?
Some personal time was a trade-off, and probably some things were done as far as meals and such a little differently. And by no means am I perfect at this at all. None of us are. It's always every day is a new experience in doing this. But
There's no, again, being a mom is different than going to a normal job. There's no necessarily a policy and procedure manual on how to do it. But who was the best example for you as a mother, or some examples that you had in your life of being a good mom?
My grandmothers, but most of all, my own mother was a great example to me. And she was always there. She was always had an ear to listen to us, or a moment to give us advice, or to help us along the way in any way possible. And today she's my best friend and someone that I love to communicate with. And I'm grateful that I still have her with me in my life. And I am grateful also to my aunt, my mom's sister, and to my other aunts. And all of the women really have made an impact in my life. Women in church, women in the community, teachers of my children. I learn and I draw from each one of them, and I look for those opportunities to learn from these wonderful women in my life.
Well, how is it that then, I guess that's probably why, why do you think all the kids like to go to their moms instead of their dads? And maybe that's not true for everybody, but it seems like kids always feel more comfortable coming to mom. Why do you think that is?
I think that it's because they're there from the beginning, and they are comfortable with them. And moms are always, seem to be always the acceptor of us and our faults. And
Dads are always seem to be maybe correcting, and then the beard, and we're a little prickly, we're a little rough, we're a little bit not as friendly of a welcome sometimes, I think. And that's, I think, one of the special things that mothers have to give. But so how does that translate for you into the classroom? You take care of these other children, pre-K now at Keonipoko Elementary in Puna District in Powhatan. And so, what skills that why are you so good at that there? What mothering skills do you bring there?
I love working with the preschoolers and the elementary school age students. I'm able to work with older students at the end of the day as I help them to get onto their bus, or when there's parent pickup. And so I'm able to communicate and work with some of the upper L or lower L students, and I appreciate that. But I think my heart is in pre-K. I just love those sweet little people that can try you so hard, but then give you just that crooked smile or that hug, and makes my day. And I appreciate the opportunity to teach them and to see their minds learn and expand and grow in different ways.
It's challenging though with pre-K and also as an EA, you're not just dealing with the kids, you're also dealing with parents and things like that. What are some of the challenges that you find on helping families?
I think it's the communication. If we can keep the communication lines open in meeting and talking with the parents and helping them to understand how to support their children so that their learning experience can become better and stronger, and then taking that home so that they can become even stronger there.
Well, it's a noble profession, teaching, and especially teaching those ones that have special needs. I know you can't talk about some of them in particular, some special things, but any funny stories that come up, funny bus rides or different things that as you think about through the years that have made it really worth it?
I probably should have thought about this question beforehand, but nothing is coming to mind. But
How about those kids? I mean, with special needs, sometimes there's autism, sometimes there's these different things, but, maybe how have been serving them and working with them, how do they see the world, and how has that taught you?
Oh, that's a great question. They have so much. There are some that are very structured. There are some children that like the structure. They thrive from the structure. And then there are those that are all over the place. And
they don't want any structure.
They don't appear to, but it benefits them in the long run. And so I am just amazed by these tiny little bodies that manifest so much growth and learning and production in a classroom, because they use teamwork. They all work together. Mm-hmm. We have some students during COVID, we make sure that they have certain seating spots where they are at, and they tend to work together. It's interesting, and there's times when we have to shift them around. I think that's with any classroom, mm-hmm. Dealing with the different personalities that students have. But they're so unique that the special needs, all these personalities are sometimes over the top, or they're expressing themselves, and you got to take all that energy and kind of bundle it all up. And sometimes by nap time, it doesn't quite, they can't bottle it all up, I guess. How does nap time work? Nap time is creating a routine and a setting, and they know, we let them know that things are going to be okay. They have their mat, cover, and they just understand and know. We will rub their backs, mm-hmm. We'll comfort them to where they can relax. And it's amazing how different they can be also after they nap, because sleeping is important. Yes, getting good sleep and not eating a bunch of sugar and all that stuff that our parents used to tell us to do. They have some impact. Tell me about when you're in class and there's other different kinds of activities. There's the nap time, but there's also singing time, or what kind of activities to keep these guys motivated and learning? What are some of the fun things you do? Well, again, we have a structure. We have not a calendar, a schedule for the day. Thank mm-hmm. you. A schedule, and we go through the schedule with the students, and we put a clothespin by each of the moments in the day. Uh-huh. And so we start with circle time, and then we have breakfast, and then after breakfast they wash their hands and clean up, and then we are doing a large group where there's a large group learning experience. We have a question of the day, and we do different studies. And right now the study is oh my goodness. A study, well, so it changes from week to week. We did a tree study, and so now we're doing insects. So we're having fun learning about insects, and it is amazing to see these young children come up with these big words as a part of the studies. And it's amazing what the little brains can. You just don't know when they're going to sort of surprise you with stuff that they've learned. Yes. So still keeping hope and continuing that consistency. I think that's what helps. Like you said, that structure seems to really create some order. Now, having that schedule at school and those things, how does that apply to your to home as well? What are some of the things that you tried to create for your family in the home that created a learning environment? Well, it also helps me. Learning so much in the classroom environment from the teacher or from other EAs, learning different things. I take that back home, and I'm able to put some things into place and structure at home that I might not have had earlier in the development of our kids. And it's been a good thing. Yeah, you can continue to learn and become, I think we all grow over time, but certainly your influence in our family has been wonderful. And again,
I think all of us guys joke a little bit when we say we're going home. We got to talk to the boss about it. That's real, because of the sort of influence and the things that we provide. We don't want to mess up that balance that I think that's what I try to do. I don't want to mess up that balance of what you're trying to do and create as a mother. But also, as you go and work, what kind of benefits? What have you taught your children about work? And what do you think is the most important thing that they know about work, getting a job? What's your experience with, as you were younger, about getting a job, your first job?
My first job, I started working, it was a summer job. I worked at Bolé America in Denver, Colorado. I graduated from high school there in Aurora. And my sister and I were just doing the summer filing in the back of the warehouse for Bolé. And we did that.
That was before the internet? So you were filing, file cabinets,
filing papers in the back.
Yeah, invoices and all that stuff.
Yes, yes. Orders for, And my sister went off to school and I went ahead and I continued through the fall of my senior year. And so I would get out of school at noon and drive into Denver and work for 4 hours, and then I would come home. And in January time, they needed to downsize, I guess, a little. And so my superior called me into the office and said I was being let go. And I was crushed. I was
your first layoff. You got they don't love you anymore.
Yeah, that's the way I felt, rejection. And I later on in life, I realized I didn't even have a mortgage to pay. I didn't have children to support. It was just me in high school. And so it was kind of silly looking back on it, but it was a learning experience. And
well, you could drive and you were able to go into town in and out of Denver. I think kids a little bit, they're learning how to drive and work a little bit later. I wish there were some more opportunities for the kids as they're younger, because I think when we were growing up, we both had that opportunity to work when we were young. That was sort of expected to work 15, 16 years old, get a job and make things happen. I hear one time that you had a job at a dry cleaner.
Yes.
Can you tell me the story about the dry cleaner?
So after,
because we're not all professionals when we're teenagers, right? We're trying to learn how to do things. But
I'm grateful. My mom stayed home and she let me use the car. It wasn't like I had my own car to go and drive into Denver. She let me use it. So when I lost that job, I then looked for another, and there was a dry cleaners around the corner from where we lived. So it was much easier. They had more, my mom had the car again, but so I worked at a dry cleaners, and that was not the coolest job. I mean, it was a very stinky job actually. But it was nice. I was by myself, and we would just go and take orders, and then make sure they were put in the right bags and ready to be shipped out to the dry cleaners. And
so it was just they drop off and then they dry cleaner and then they bring it back. And
then they would bring it back after. There were some that would have a quick return. They would pay a little extra for that. And then some that it would be, I think, 3 days, and then a quick return would be the next day. And
so everything went smoothly there.
No, there's.
Can you tell us that story? I know it's a little embarrassing, but we all got to have sort of our first, work story that maybe didn't go so well.
So there was a businessman that came in, and I had seen him before, and he dropped off his shirts, and I don't know where it went wrong, but
innocent mistake, I'm sure.
Innocent mistake. He came back the next day and said, "Are my shirts in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think they're in. They should be." And then I looked, I'm like, "No." And I said, "There's one more truck that's coming in, so it should be." And he's like, "Well, I really need them." And I said, "Well, we close at 5. And so then I went back and I looked, I investigated more, and I saw that I didn't tag them to be
rapid return,
yes, to come back the next day. And so I made a mistake. And so I was just praying that man would not come back until after 5 p.m. because I didn't want to face him. And as soon as it turned 5 o'clock, I shut and locked the door, and I went and hid in the back. And we had a two-way mirror, and I watched him come to the door and jerk on the door and show his anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt horrible, and it was a mistake I made. And he probably needed them for a business trip. And I saw him later, a week later or 2 weeks later, and there was no mention of it. But I felt I got away with it, and I apologize to that gentleman if he's watching this right now. For that, I probably created a very hectic afternoon or evening for him, and I apologize.
Well, that's not what I did it for, but mothers seem to remember those types of things and then try to pass on that to our children.
Yes, I think we learned from that. And so
right.
My kids love to hear stories of when I made mistakes, and or maybe they don't love to hear them. They're probably tired of them.
Well, they get tired of them, but then that's the things that they remember about, when their moms decided to do the right thing, and were, good examples to them. And I think you've been a great example to our family. And so, listen, as a mother and working, you're so busy when you're not here doing, when you're not busy working as a mom and those kind of things. What does Amanda like to do by herself?
I haven't done it in a while, but I do like to bake. Mm-hmm. And also what I haven't done in a while is I like to watch Korean dramas. Mm-hmm. And
well, there's lots of fans of that out there, that's for sure.
It seems to take more time than I imagined. And I love to do, again, I don't do a lot of it. I guess I'm a really busy person. Mm-hmm. But I do love to do family history or learning about my ancestors and my husband's, our children, where we came from, and how we can understand who we are better.
Sure. Well, yeah, we've definitely came up in two different households, but I think the patience of a mother and a good woman has provided, obviously, for me and for our family. So thank you, Amanda, for what you do every day. And hopefully, as time goes on and you continue to work with those pre-K kids, we can find out more exciting things that you're up to. But wait a minute, what about your favorite food? What kind of food do you like to eat?
My favorite food, ice cream.
Ice cream, special flavor. What's your favorite flavor?
I kind of go back and forth, but I love Haagen-Dazs and
anything Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
Or the bars.
The bars. I like the vanilla. Kind of a simple person like that, but yeah. Or chocolate chip.
What do you think your kid's favorite meal of yours is?
There's one I was just having. I need to find something new to make kind of moment. And we were living in Washington at the time. And I think we had dial-up internet. I don't know. And
Uber Eats. Uber Eats was not available.
No. And I just gave a list of items that I had in my pantry or fridge. And there was a black pepper beef cabbage stir fry. And the kids always love it.
They always ask for that. Mom, when are you going to make the stir fry?
Yeah. And I know that yours is the chicken casserole.
Yes. Well, that was the first meal that you served, hot meal. And I was hooked after that. So, all the ladies out there, I guess, if you're looking for a man, good food is a way to a man's heart. They say, this is a little bit cliche, is through his stomach. It's probably true. The chicken casserole worked, Yeah. So, but we certainly, when anything out there for young mothers who are just starting out, or if you were able to look back at yourself after we were first married and you were in beauty school, what would you tell those young mothers out there who have to kind of balance all this stuff?
One day at a time, and enjoy those new moments with the newborns and the infants, and just those years are crucial to their development and also to yours as a mother. And
It goes kind of fast.
it does. Everyone always said, enjoy these times. And I'd look at him and go, okay.
As you got a kid climbing on your head or whatever like that. Right?
And I look back and I miss those times, and I appreciated those times, and look forward to, different things in the future, my children having children, and experiencing that with our 4 girls and 2 sons. And
Yeah, hold on. No grandmother, grandma, grandpa
No,
yet. Okay, so we're not sending out the invitation here, but anyway, we're
but we
grateful.
look forward to it.
Yes, absolutely. And so so those moments are fleeting, and so again, for this Mother's Day, we got to come to the special boss's office of Amanda Pettijohn. The mother and our the center of our lives, and so we're grateful for you coming today. Hi, everybody.
Make sure to subscribe to Hawaii Boss and follow us on social media at Hawaii Boss Podcast at the links in the description. We'll see you soon in the boss's office.